What is Fantasy Express? Fantasy Express is a role-playing game based on old-school role-playing games, except with lots of delivery missions, so that we can get rid of delivery missions for good. What is a delivery mission? That's where some mystic NPC tells you to bring the black end to leaves to the Earl of Grey. They happen a lot in video games when the devs realize that there aren't enough play hours in their game, and they need a cheap way to stretch out their content by sending you around the world that they already built, bringing item A to place B. Ever wonder how all of those items end up hidden in the grass, the boxes, the treasure chests? Fantasy Express is your game to answer that question. Mostly I live code FEX on Twitch, but since the goal is to get this game out in a few weeks, join me in this weekly devlog to find out how it happened and see what happened when I wasn't live. This is Rhea. She's going to start off thinking that everything in RPGs is about delivering items, but we'll tell her later that we actually hid a game in there somewhere. Her sprite arrived midweek, so I'll be using a stand-in sprite from Open Game Art while coding this week. Details on that will be in the description. When I first started live coding this, I wasn't using a camera object. I was just moving the world under the main sprite. It took a little bit of work to fix that up, but the overworld makes a lot more sense now. When you hit a key, I wasn't doing any smooth moves, so I threw a tween on there as well to ease that a bit. But I'll fix that up later when the character animation arrives. I added a dev console too, to make it a little easier to, well, cheat, because retesting walking across the map 100 times gets old fast, let me tell you. Next, I added some items to the world. It's hard to order art when you aren't sure what items you'll need, so I built a quick command line tool to make a pile of items with random colors and using their names as placeholders. I started with the stuff you'll need for crafting later. Sometimes games call these reagents, but don't worry about that for now. Crafting doesn't really show up until Act 2. To give the game a more fantastic flair, I call them cantos instead of acts. So all you need to know is that Canto 2 will involve crafting, but at least now we have some stuff to put in our inventory. We'll need an inventory panel and get the directional keys, sometimes called LRUD for left, right, up, down, working. Now that we've got items, well, sorta items, in our inventory, we need a way to hand them over to NPCs. I'll add the details of handing things over later. For now, I just went with a simple 4-slot action bar and made it so you can assign something to the first slot. I cut over to making a simple way to write out quests that involves getting stuff and handing over stuff, then started looking into the world coordinate damage that I'd done during some earlier live coding sessions. Whoops. After a bunch of debugging, which I won't show you, and trust me, it's no fun, I worked on the receiving NPC in a delivery quest. For now, I added a simple collider around the NPC that checks if you've got the item that they're looking for, as long as you're on a quest related to them. We'll get to the controls for handing things over later, so the NPCs just steal stuff from you for now. I've realized I forgot to clean up the inventory slot after removing it from your inventory, so here, that's getting debugged. That's your Fantasy Express devlog for this week. Like, subscribe, do all those things. I left a link to the actual live coding show on Twitch down in the description, so if you want to catch that live, I'll see you there. Otherwise, I'll catch you in a week. In the meantime, just keep on delivering stuff.